All right, we're recording.
All right.
All right, so tell me about the shark teeth. One happened a couple of months ago, and then you found another one, but tell me the process about how it all went down.
Yeah, so it's been really interesting because we haven't had any reports of anybody finding teeth of any significant size in Rhode Island for many, many years. So we got one in the summer. A family was over at Narragansett Town Beach, and they found one in the surf, and I happen to know the family. So it was funny. They called and said, "Hey, what's going on? Do you know what this is about?" And then remarkably, 3 weeks ago, I got a very similar reach out with a text saying, "Hey, what is this?" with a picture. And I thought to myself, well, this is pretty remarkable, pretty unique. So particularly Rhode Island and the same little beach, Narragansett Town Beach, is pretty special.
Anything like this happen anywhere else in the country that you've heard about, where a couple of teeth are found in the same beach or the same area?
Well, yeah, there are some beaches, in different parts of the country where you got a variety of teeth, particularly Florida. There's really popular beaches down there. People literally will go down and look for the shark teeth, but they're typically small. And what's really unique about these is the size. Number one, not only the size, but then the fact that a tooth to fossilize takes about 10,000 years. So we know that they're at least 10,000 years old, which really makes it pretty darn special. And no, nothing that I've heard of with a beach of this size with a couple of teeth that are this special. I have not.
I thought that was interesting that you, in the release, you said they're anywhere from 10,000 years old to 1,000,000 years old. So
Yeah.
how did they determine the 10,000 part? And I guess you just kind of explained it with the fossilized, but
Yeah.
can they narrow it down at all?
Yeah, they can actually narrow down the age if we take the tooth itself and we send it off, which we can do. We haven't wanted to say to these folks with these special finds, "Hey, would you mind giving us your tooth for a couple of weeks and we're going to send it off somewhere?" I may do that. We know it takes 10,000 years approximately for it to fossilize. So in the case, both of these were fossilized. So we know they're at least 10,000 years old. White sharks have been around for a little over 6 million years. So unfortunately, you got 10,000 years, 6 million years. But we can do a better job of that if we can get a hold of the teeth. But we'll see. We may ask them to do that so we can really try to dig into this a little bit more.
How have the sharks changed from 6 million or even 10,000 years ago to the sharks today? Are there any differences in size, or you compare the teeth that you found in the last few months to what we have today?
Yeah, what's pretty interesting is, when you think about these sharks and their cartilage, so when they go, they go. And the only thing that remains are these teeth, which we find periodically. What's also interesting about the teeth is that these sharks will shed thousands of teeth in their lifetime. They come out on a conveyor belt, they fall off, the next one comes in. So tooth doesn't mean the shark died, it just means it shed one of its teeth. Which is really fun and interesting to wonder how much longer that shark lived. Where did it go? How often? Did it spend time in Rhode Island? It really becomes kind of a little bit of a mystery, typically unsolvable, but it's still kind of fun to think back. Hey, at least 10,000 years ago, this thing was close enough to Rhode Island or in Rhode Island where its tooth eventually ended up on a beach, which is, I think, part of the intrigue when you hear about this stuff.
The people that found the two older shark teeth in the last few months, are the shark teeth worth anything, or they're just kind of a cool collectible, like show your friends when they come over to visit?
I think both. So first of all, unbelievable collectible, because I would love to find one, and I've got a lot of shark teeth and jaws and everything else, but I've never found one that looked anything like that in terms of age or size. So really, really special, super unique. In terms of value, yeah, they've got value because of where they were found, because of the circumstance in which they were found. I mean, we've got megalodon teeth and other things that are much larger, of course, but this just has a special story as a part of it, both of these cases. And we're just intrigued to say, hey, is this 2 of 2? Or have other people found teeth, over the past few years in Narragansett or in that surrounding area that they didn't report, which we'd love to hear about, because it's certainly something unique. And maybe it's 2 in a million instead of 1 in a million, but it could be more.
How is the shark season? I assume we're kind of getting out of shark season at this point.
Yeah, the waters are getting a little too cool for almost everybody. The one guy that sticks around season-wide is the poor beagle shark. It looks like a mako to a great white. They love the cold water. But yeah, the great whites are the last guys to leave. They'll be leave. A lot of them have already moved south. We can track them. We can see them. But they're getting 50 degrees, they're done. They don't want to be up here. So as the water gets colder and colder, they can warm their bodies. But other than that, no, everyone's about to leave, and it's going to leave everything to the poor beagles. So they'll have their fill until next spring when things warm up and the sharks start to return again.
How many are you tracking these days with the Institute?
We've got, right now, we've got over 40 great whites that we can track. We've got over 50 mako sharks and a variety of spinners and black tips and poor beagles and a whole bunch. So we're way over, well over 100 sharks. We still have receivers in the water. We're going to pull out the rest of them in about 10 days. This time of year, it gets really risky. The value of all those receivers is very high, and we simply can't risk it when these big storms show up.
What's the preferred destination for these sharks? Are they true snowbirds like a lot of people here in Rhode Island? Do they just all go to Florida, or where do they generally go?
Yeah, it's funny. They are very much like the Rhode Island snowbirds. These white sharks, they love to overwinter in the Carolinas and then down south through Georgia, Florida, and around into the Gulf of Mexico. They're very predictable. And we've got Natalie, which is the first acoustic shark ever tagged in Rhode Island, white shark. She loves the Carolinas, and then she comes back to Rhode Island and goes up into northern New England and Canada. She comes right back down, goes back to the Carolinas. So they're pretty predictable, which is good, because you think about trying to protect areas and make sure you know that they're safe and they can reproduce and they can survive till they can reproduce. So it's good to have some degree of consistency in where these sharks are going and when.
What's next for the Institute? What do you got on the agenda?
Well, actually, right now we're writing a paper, a white shark paper for white sharks in Rhode Island. There's never been one written before or published before, so we're right in the middle of that. We're about halfway through that paper. We're really excited about it. Connor McManus at NOAA was at Rhode Island DEM is a lead author with us, and Greg Scommel in Massachusetts. So we've got a really good team there, so we're excited about that. And then we've got another paper that's going to roll in after that on a subset of what's going on here in Rhode Island. So we're going to start to document more of these things in a shared way. So we're really excited to share them with the New England scientific community and the world.
If you keep finding all these old shark teeth, you're going to end up being named Shark Tooth, like in Finding Nemo. Shark Tooth, hoo ha ha.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful of that. I can keep finding these things. What's interesting is this tooth here. This is from a modern white shark tooth, because you can tell by it's white and it's not fossilized. But this is about the same size as the one that Carlene just found recently, and it's not that different from the one that the young man found as well. So kind of interesting that these things are, and what's great about them is you can look at the length. You have to know the position of the tooth in the jaw, of course, because each shape of the tooth is different. They position differently, but if you know the exact position of the tooth, you can then do a length to measurement ratio, and that's where you come up and say, hey, the one that was found recently was from an 18 to 20 foot white shark, which is a really big white shark.
I'm impressed by the whiteness of the tooth. I mean, they should be on advertising here to advertise how they got their teeth so white. Are they using Crest, or what are these sharks using?
Yeah, look at that thing. Is that beautiful? Yeah, that's definitely a Crest white strip. No, there's no question.
It's amazing that you can get them in their mouths when we have them tagged. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's really cool is this rotates out. It falls right out of the mouth. New one comes in. So if they break the last one, or they score it, or the serrations get dulled because they chewed on something too hard, they don't have to worry about it. It falls out. They go through thousands of these teeth, Artie. Thousands of teeth per shark, which is why it's cool, because finding a tooth doesn't mean anything about how long that shark lived, if it survived. Most likely you find a single tooth like this, that's a shark that just shed the tooth.
That would save me a lot of trips to the dentist if it just grew back up.
The only problem with that is you'd really scare people at dinner when you pulled another one out. Oh, there's another tooth. Bit into
right.
that steak. That steak was a little tough, but that's okay. A new one will be there tomorrow.
I like it. All right. Hey, John, thanks a lot. As
No
always,
problem.
this is going to run various times throughout the day, including the noon. So check it out.
Good. All right, we'll do that. Thanks
All right,
again.
man. Hang in there.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.